part of a rich family who sold stuff, so they did for a living. He was the youngest kid and had 6 brothers and sisters. He went to school to think about religion and the way people think. He was planning on marrying a woman named Miss Olson, but he thought that because he loved school and thinking great ideas, he would not be a good husband and didn't get married. Even though Soren didn't want to marry Miss Olson, he still loved her, and because of his love, he talks about her in some of his books, and he writes many of his books for her. Okay, so some of Mr. Kierkegaard's main ideas. Soren followed what he thought was the way people think of existentialism, or as we say, put it all together, existentialism. So if we break it down for you guys, existentialism. But for now, if I'll refer to it as existence. It's kind of, it goes hand in hand. We'll get to that later. He based most of his thoughts on this idea. This whole idea of existentialism was his main thing. He was known as the father of existentialism. So if you go and type in Soren Kierkegaard anywhere on the internet, it's going to come up, did you mean father of existentialism? He's very, very well known for that. Since this term is hard to say in a simple way, I will define how people act when they are in existence. So, how people act with Soren's idea. They are serious of how one person should live their life. They believe that there are many questions that people must deal with, such as death and God. They believe that life is really hard and that there is not any goal someone has to reach. Choices and values are seen through how someone acts, not through words. So relating this to sticks and stones. So since he says that the acts are not, it's the acts that matter and not the words. So if you always heard that phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names and words will never hurt me. That's kind of this whole idea of what he's saying, is that the acts are what matter. So the choices and values relate to the acts of what happens, and the words have nothing, no real idea to go with it. Okay, so not to bore you, so we put in a little bit of interesting stuff.
Andy's going to college. Can you believe it?
We have a Toy Story 3 connection. So start off with the trailer.
Okay, come on, Peter. Let's just keep this in perspective. Where is she taking us? I should have seen this coming. We'll be fine, Jesse. Oh, I hate all this uncertainty. New toys! Buzz Lightyear, at your service. Welcome to Sunnyside, folks. You'll find getting donated was the best thing that ever happened to you. Who's Velocistar 237?
Oh, that's just a dinosaur toy down the street. That's nothing. Let me just take care of that. The dinosaur.
And we got guests. So, who's ready for Ken's Dream Tour? Let's show our new friends where they'll be staying. Folks, if you want to step right this way. Hi, I'm Ken.
Barbie.
Love your hair.
Nice, nice. We can have a whole new life here, Woody.
We're Andy's toys. Hey, what do you guys think of the new recruits and keepers? Oh, please. That's Space Guy. He could be useful. Oh, I want to get played with. Right. They just love new toys now, don't they? Oh, it was cold and dark. Nothing but sand and a couple of Lincoln logs. I don't think those were Lincoln logs. You got a play date with destiny.
He's looking for us. And he's looking for us.
Listen up. We're busting out of here. Woody's no ordinary toy. He's brave.
We gotta get you home before Andy leaves tomorrow.
But the thing that makes Woody special is he'll never give up on you. Ever.
You and your friends ain't ever getting out of here.
What's important now is we stay together. Oh, never get it! Where's Potato Head?
Okay. into that and kind of connect that to relate it, because one of Soren Kierkegaard's main ideas, besides existentialism, was nihilism. And opposed to the other Toy Story movies, Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3 takes a big part in nothingness, because there's a whole part of you are, like Andy, as you saw there, gets rid of his toys in the end, and the toys kind of feel almost a sense of rejection, and this is a big part in Kierkegaard's philosophy. So we're just going to kind of connect that to it. Kind of small here, but hit it. Oh, there we go. So in this quote here in that picture, Woody, every existing thing is born without reason, prolongs itself out of weakness, and dies by chance. So this is kind of the same, yeah.
It's so depressing.
I know, it's really, the other ones don't have any of these symbols in them, but this one does. So the existential problem of this Toy Story 3 movie is the friendship of Woody and Andy. As I said before, these toys become nothing but junk, and then Buzz was just relating there how everything is kind of nothingness. So it really, it's kind of depressing actually. So in this one, we have the big bear saying to Buzz, "Oh Buzz, you wild, beautiful thing, you crazy handful of nothing." So when he says that, he's literally telling him that he's nothing. It's really negative, and it really pertains to everything that Mr. Kierkegaard is throwing out there. So the big bear responds in a bad way to these toys in the daycare center. He is seen with this approach with life is nasty, brutish, or really negative, and short. And I'm going to make everyone realize it while getting some action for myself on the side. So he really wants, he's very, very selfish, which is a big part, and he doesn't want a lot of positive things to say. This path that Lotso takes is a downer, bad approach that doesn't bring any help to the world. Therefore, he is one of the existence. Okay. Greg?
Alright, ethics, what are they and how does Mr. Kierkegaard use them? Have you ever heard of being ethical, being moral? Well, these ideas are how we live, what we believe, and how we hope to live our lives. Are we a good person or a bad person? How are we to act to our parents and our friends? Which of Santa's lists are we going to end up on? Mr. K thinks that ethics should be viewed by how the community is. Therefore, if in the 1700s it was fine to be rude to your parents, that would not be acceptable now because we are to respect our parents. So the main idea is as time goes on, our values change with the time, and epistemology. Soren's ideas of epistemology is that people can define what is true based on the importance of things in one's life. Something can be considered true or false based on the view of different people. Evidence isn't needed for something to be deemed true, the person just has to believe it. And whole idea of nihilism. Soren was also a nihilist, meaning that people's existence is put into question. Soren believed in the idea of people getting stripped of their individuality until their uniqueness becomes obsolete and non-existent. And it goes back to the whole idea that we are nothing.
Metaphysics. Soren's ideas were the opposite of our friend Barney. Barney preached a world in which individual mattered, and Soren did not. It's Barney. It's crazy. Leveling. A form of nihilism. A mindset that derives from the fear of committing oneself to something which can be taken away. Nothing matters. All that is thought of is pertaining to each individual and does not regard others. A process of suppressing and removing individuality to such a point where an individual lacks traits that make him unique.
Yeah. So now we wrote a story, which we'll bring up on here. Where do I get?
The actual problem.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, okay.
Should we?
Okay, so the Adventures of the Teletubbies, featuring their guest Soren Kierkegaard. So, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but
Yes. This is my favorite show ever. The babies is on it.
Over the hills and far away, Teletubbies come to play.
No, don't stop it.
okay. How do I get out of here? Okay. It was a sunny, warm, and quiet day. It was a sunny, warm, and quiet day in Teletubby World. After sleeping for many hours, the Teletubbies all woke up and gathered around their table to eat their breakfast. After they were each finished with their Cheerios and Lucky Charms, they relaxed and began deciding what they felt like doing on this beautiful day. Right when they decided that they were going to head out and explore all the world had to offer, a loud crash and boom came from outside the mound in which they lived.
The Teletubbies, confused by this noise, didn't know what to do. Lala suggested that maybe the baby-faced sun had fallen, but none of the four were sure what exactly happened. Then finally, an announcement came over a loudspeaker saying, "Teletubbies, some kind of time machine-like object has landed outside in our meadow." The Teletubbies, always fascinated with time travel, headed out to see what had actually happened. Once they stepped outside of their home, they found a very confused man walking away from a broken box of some kind.
The man, confused as to what period he was in and why people now had TVs built into their stomachs, much different from the year 2011 he had just been from. He went up to each of them and said, "Greetings, I'm Soren Kierkegaard and I'm the father of existentialism." Not knowing what this meant, Poe, the youngest and the smallest, said, "Does that have anything to do with existing? Does it have any effect on riding my bike?" After pondering his thought, Mr. K said, "Well, in theory, yes. If you want to ride your bike, then you have the full choice to do that. No one else is going to tell you what to do. If you want to do it, then do it."
Taking Wiki then asked Soren, "Is existentialism, how does it affect our lives?" Soren replied, "Existentialism is the idea that you are responsible for the meaning of your life and that you decide how you see fit to live. For example, if you choose to keep pursuing fun as you do now, then that is okay because you have find that as in life and it works for you. Well, I know that I can't control everything I do because then I wouldn't be able to move or do anything subversive. Well, yes, that would be a safe assumption to Soren."
After they discussed outside, Poe said, "Soren, why don't you come in for some sandwiches?" They entered into their mound, and Nunu, not having spoken all day, said, "What kind of sandwich would you like?" "My favorite is turkey with bacon and Gouda cheese with lettuce and tomato," said Soren. The Teletubbies, stunned and unsure exactly what he meant by this, each said, "Huh?" Soren quickly replied, "This sandwich that I have requested, it's a form of leveling, expressing each own individuality." The Teletubbies seemed to understand this, and they then explained that they could not make this sandwich for him.
As the Teletubbies started making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for Soren, they each began to fight over who was putting one on the sandwich. After several shouts of "move over" and "let me do it," Soren spoke up and said, "What did I just say?" Didn't I say that your individuality is prime to what you do? You need to each respect each other's individuality. Each person controls his own spheres of whatever they are doing. Stop trying to take over each other's lives. Close yet, understanding of the statement. The Teletubbies each allow one another to handle the sandwich in an appropriate manner.
After they ate their sandwiches, an announcement came over their speaker system. Teletubbies, it will be nap time in 15 minutes. You all must prepare for bed. After hearing this, they decided it was time to bid their visitor farewell. They thanked him for his kind, inspirational words and watched him get into his strange time machine and soar off into the sunlight.
The end.
Questions for our younger group?
What was that? What is that program?
It's called Prezi. I use it in computer science.
We thought we'd try something different.